Dan Hooker believes he should fight Sarukian. Now, Dan Hooker's matchmaking went like this. Right, if there's anybody that has the right to an opinion, it's Hooker. And there was a movement made, supported by me, to do Hooker versus Max for the BMF. Now, Max had a different idea, which is Max most wants to fight Charles Oliveira for the BMF. Hooker's matchmaking also put Gaethje into the title fight and has no mention of Patty. All right. I got to tell you, I have no problem with it. I can't tell you that it's patently wrong. I was a little surprised. Dan Hooker being one of the guys whose names is in talks. Right? Dan Hooker for a title shot is always a good idea. Dan Hooker for a BMF shot in a brand new match against Max as a welcoming to the division amongst other things is a terrific idea. Max's suggestion that he rematch Charles Oliveira, I'm like, all of these are really good ideas. There's a reason that 155 pounds is looked at and respected as the most difficult weight class. Do you guys, and see if you change any one of those, if you have a problem with anything that Dan said, you change one of those, you change the board completely. Do any of you have a problem with Charles versus Max for the BMF? Now let me speak for you. I'm confident when I say no. But if you were given the choice, do you want Charles versus Max for the BMF or in a rematch? Are you compelled to see a rematch at 155 that once upon a time took place at 145? Or would you just love a fresh coat of paint completely, and that's where you would bring in Hooker? And it is interesting conceptually. How many times do you want to do rematches? But it's Max with the belt that's calling for it, and it didn't go his way. So, Max also has the right to an opinion, but you're still seeing two guys that fought at 145 that have now changed up to 155. And the number one greatest thing you get when a guy, particularly a champion, changes weight is you get fresh parity. So are you willing to sacrifice that? Okay. Now let's take a look at Hooker believing Gaethje is going to get the title shot. That's a good idea. Justin Gaethje fighting for a title is always a good idea. I maintain that 2 of Justin Gaethje's last 4 matches were title fights. I maintain that because I watched them put the belt around him in Salt Lake City when he beat Poirier, and I watched Max take the belt from him when they met up at 300. So, is it the same thing? Does it count the same way? Is it similar? Is it similar enough? It depends who you ask. I think yes. I love that BMF belt. I respect the BMF belt. I love and respected when Justin got it put around him. I love and respected when he passed it off to Max. I do not think that Max should be able to go into a fight and not put up the belt. Max is fighting just as hard for that to be true as I am. Max also believes his next fight should be for the belt. And Max went through this once with Ilia. Now he's getting teased by Ilia. Max doesn't like it, and he doesn't appreciate it. Max's large stance is, what do you want me to do? He even told Ilia, this is what happened. Get over it. But I don't think that Max loved the idea of being a BMF champion and not putting the belt up. That's what I think. And I think that Max is going to do everything he can to make sure the next time he fights, that belt goes up. Oh, and by the way, BMF is an interesting category. It's not just who can win it. It's a very select group of guys from deeds done in the past that qualify them the opportunity to try for the BMF tonight. And we get that, don't we? That is very hard rhetorically to explain, but it doesn't need explained, does it? You guys know what a BMF is. So do I. So does Max. Charles versus Max for the BMF. See, it's completely different. Charles versus Max, that's a rematch. It already happened once. Charles versus Max, what are you doing here? Charles versus Max, you're both trying to get to Ilia. It doesn't help either one of you. Charles versus Max for the BMF, it's a very different thing. But to have world title fights and have contention, to have a BMF and to have contention, and to not have Dan Hooker being greatly considered for either one of those jobs. And I couldn't help. I read this thing 3 times, what Dan Hooker said. And there was a part of me that left the first time, which is what prompted my second review, and after the third, I believe even stronger. This was a polite, roundabout way without ever saying the name. This was a call out of Paddy the Baddy. I don't know how else to interpret it. Hooker's very good with the media. He's very good at understanding the backdoor politics. He's very good at his messaging to you guys. Hooker got Charles and Max busy. Hooker got Gaethje busy with Ilia. Now, Hooker officially called out Sarukian. That was the name that he gave. But I believe that to be the most unlikely of all of the matchups. And I think in a polite, in a roundabout way. I think Hooker just went after Paddy Pimblett.